How's it going today, everybody? Today, I'm very excited to announce my guest. He's a former Monmouth University tight end, a first-team All-Big South recipient, and a member of the Spring League's Blues. Shawn Clark, how we doing today, brother?
Hey, Mike, man, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. So first and foremost, we got to rep the hometown. Tell us a little bit about your hometown and what makes it so special.
For sure, man. From a small town in upstate New York called Potsdam. Real small town, very rural community, small community, very tight-knit, hardworking people. It's a lot of like teachers, factory workers, male. It's construction guys. So it's like tough, hard-nosed, you work for what you have kind of place. So I love my town, love everything about it, my community. And, honestly, it's made me who I am today. So I have nothing, but love for Potsdam.
For sure, man. Just like everybody should have nothing but love for their hometowns.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your recruiting process out of high school and how you ended up at Monmouth University.
So my path is kind of funny. It's different, definitely different. So originally I went to high school in Potsdam, and growing up, I was always a quarterback actually in high school. So and I always played up a level. So in 8th grade, I got brought up to start on JV, the junior varsity team, to be quarterback. And then freshman year, I got brought up again, ended up getting hurt. So I missed my whole freshman year. Sophomore year, I come back. I end up splitting time with another guy at quarterback throughout the whole year. And I'm like frustrated, like I love football, like more than anything. And I feel like I just had a lot to contribute, a lot more to give to the team. And so my junior year, my coach had me switch out to wideout. And so my junior year, I played wideout and kind of loved it a little bit. It was a little bit different. And after that year, finally, I was like, my mom and my family and my dad, we just kind of talked about, what am I really trying to do? Like, where am I trying to go in life? Is this football really what I want? And that obviously that it is. It's where my heart is. So I left there. Junior year, went to prep school out in Massachusetts, and I just kind of took it was just like a home run, just kind of home run shot and hope for the best. So I kind of went out there, Massachusetts, year and a half, played out there under a guy named Wayne Clark, probably one of my best mentors I've ever had in my life. You talk about learning how to be a man, what it means to be a man, core values. Wayne Clark, thank you very much. Make sure I give him a shout out because one of the best dudes I've ever met. But I got to prep school and it was an opportunity for me to grow and to play against better competition. Went back to playing quarterback actually, and got recruited by several schools. All my scholarships were from the FCS level. Only 2 walk-ons from Syracuse and NC State. And my goal was either I get a scholarship or I'm not going to college. And I told my mom that. I said, I'm going for everything, or I'm going to come home and I'm going to work. And so, we kind of just put all my eggs in one basket and worked. And, I was a 3-sport athlete as well, but, put all my eggs in the football thing. And I took an offer from Monmouth. That's where the Monmouth thing came. They came at actually the first school to visit me at Cushing my senior year. And they offered me that tight end spot. And the more I thought about it and stuff, I thought back to high school and playing receiver, and as much as I loved having that ball in my hands all the time as a quarterback, the real, if I'm going to make it, I'm going to be a tight end. And that's what everyone told me always. So, I just kind of took a leap of faith. Mama took a leap of faith. And yeah, that's kind of my recruiting story. It's kind of, there's more intricacies to it, but very long process, very dragged out from being at Potsdam and then having to go to Massachusetts. I moved away from home at 16 years old. So I've been on my own for, I'm 25 now. So, 9 years on my own already. So it's definitely helped me learn some great life values.
Yeah, for sure. That's a crazy journey, bro. Because a lot of the dudes that I have on the show, they got 20 Division I offers, and it was a hard decision on which one to pick. They had to decide which would be the best fit for them to go on journeys. And yours was not so much so. You just kind of you got what you got, and then and then it ended up working out well because following your career at Monmouth, you had a great career at Monmouth. What kind of NFL pro football interest did you have?
So I actually talked to quite a few teams going up to the draft. Indy, Arizona, Buffalo, and a couple other teams. Heard from Tennessee and Tampa Bay, and really it was just you know, not really, I didn't really try and worry too much about, you know, who I'm talking to, because being from the FCS, like you're an underdog already, and it's more or less, it's less about what you say and more about what you do. You know what I mean? And like I said, going back to you know, Wayne Clark, having those you know, those values he set in me, and just being a worker, and also, you know, just my hometown, like having all those like core values instilled in me. You know, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna work and like show them. So, you know, all the talks were great and whatever, but you know, it really comes down to just performing. And you know, so let's talk to those teams up to pro day and through to the draft, and yeah.
Nice. So you played in the spring league this past season, which I've talked to plenty of dudes from the spring league. I love talking to all the spring league guys. They're always so chill and down to earth. How did that process like come about? How did it unfold? And then what was it like getting to showcase your talents in front of like NFL scouts and stuff like that on a regular basis?
For sure. So originally, when I was in Indy, I went to the Colts in August for a workout. I was in Indy for a week, and after I left there, like they basically just said, just, you know, stay ready. And that like ate away at me. It was eating away at me. Like, you know, I felt like I killed my workout and did everything right. And I was more than ready for that opportunity. But, you know, like God's timing is everything. So, you know, you just kind of go back to the grindstone. And, you know, I went back home, kept training. And my agent called me, Shawn Stellato. He's out of Boston. Great dude. And he's like, hey, I got another opportunity for you. Do you want it? Like, it's just an opportunity to showcase your abilities. And I said, absolutely. So, you know, there was a spring league down there in San Antonio. And I was like, you know what? Like, everywhere I've been, it's been, can this kid play? Like, it's always been like, you know, the mantra, because coming from a small town, that's why I left my home from the beginning, like to begin with, you know what I'm saying? It was always like politics, and it was, you know, plus my area didn't get recruited. So I've always been the underdog my whole life. 6'8", but I'm still the underdog, you know, and it sucks. But it's always just been about having to prove myself. And so I was like, yeah, you know, like this goes back to, you know, the stomping grounds, like just time to work again. Took that opportunity, and you know, it was unbelievable actually, you know, just to be out there and like really just feel like yourself. You're like, okay, I can really play with you know, some of the best guys out there. It doesn't matter, you know, where you come from. And I hope any kid that's listening right now, like, don't ever let anybody put limits on yourself. Like, you know, like I had so many people tell me, oh, you know, you should probably just stick to basketball or keep playing baseball. And it's like, that's not where my heart was. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like every opportunity that I get to just go work and like showcase my abilities, like that fuels me, that fires me. And like, if people are doubting me, you know what I'm saying? That's just added to the fire. So.
Exactly. And that's one thing, you know, especially in like 2021, there's so many opportunities to showcase your talents. And now with the XFL coming up again, you know, all that stuff, you know, there's just even more opportunities for guys exactly like you know, underlooked their entire lives for no reason. I mean, you can obviously ball. Like I put on the film, you know, like you're a dog out there, you know, how tall, like 6'8", like tight end, can run like a receiver, has quarterback in his background. There's no reason you shouldn't be on an NFL roster, but you know, you just might have a different way to get there, you know?
Hey, everyone's path is different, right?
Exactly. So how did your kind of experience in the spring league allow other opportunities to open up?
Yeah. So the spring league was interesting because it brought obviously, you know, so many different, you know, people together. But it also allowed for, you know, outside, you know, so the CFL guys to come down and scout, and, you know, different people to come out. And that's where rugby came in. This team, the Colorado Raptors out of the MLR, they're like doing like this rebuild, right? And leaving the MLR in the United States, the professional rugby league there. And they're trying to take all these dudes from football, the best football guys, or just the best athletes in America they can find, and just, you know, develop an American rugby team that can compete on a national stage and, you know, play for the U.S. national team. So they hit me up, and I'm like, it was a DM, and I'm like, are you skeptical? You know what I'm saying? I opened my DMs, it's like, I sat, and there was a guy named Peter Paskew, who's actually a really good dude. And, you know, I sat him up for a day, and I'm like, another day I sat him on, and I'm like, you know what, maybe we should DM, like, just what's the worst that, like, you know, I thought it was in my spam. So I'm like, I'll just see what they have to say. And they're like, you know, we just want to listen, you know, to the opportunity we have for you. That's all we want you to do. Just, you know, let's fly you out to Denver, and let's just show you this opportunity that we want to present to you. And you know, because we're at the spring league, we're already there trying to get another opportunity to begin with, right? Like COVID, all this stuff has limited opportunities for not just myself. There's hundreds and thousands of guys that are still trying to play, right? So, you know, just to not feel sorry for yourself and just any opportunity you can get, you have to take at this point right now. So I was like, I thought about it, sat on it for another month after I flew out to Denver to just watch the camp they were putting on. They had like 35, 40 guys out here that were crossover athletes, all football guys, like some big name guys. I mean, Ole Miss, like Purdue, you know, like SEC guys, ACC guys out here. So I'm watching, you know, and I'm like, this is actually like pretty amazing to, you know, it's a pretty cool sport. It's almost like the best gym class, like game you've ever had, but you get to, you know, mess each other up at the same time. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna sit on this opportunity, and like, I was like, you know, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. And so
there you go.
Out here in Colorado now, man.
Hey, that's what's up. So that kind of does lead us into the next question. You kind of already went over, you know, how the situation unfolded, but, you know, do you think you're already at the point where you love the sport of rugby and all of that, or like kind of like, how are you at? And then like kind of what's that kind of adjustment been like, you know, going from football to rugby?
That's such a good question. So like, you know, I've never, prior to this, never knew anything about rugby. Like I might have watched, you know, you might see clips and stuff like here and there, but like, not a single rule, just like most of the guys that are out here. So like I came out and I'm like, am I going to like this, or is it just like another opportunity for me to train? You know what I'm saying? Stay ready. And that's, at first, that's kind of like how I was thinking about it. And you get out here and like, you just play one time and like be around the culture and the guys, the coaches, like you fall in love with it quick. Like I definitely can say that, you know, I love playing rugby right now. Does that mean that, you know, I don't want to keep playing football? Absolutely not. Like I want to be at the pinnacle of, you know, my sports career, like my athletic career. But at the same time, now that I'm here and have an opportunity to showcase what I can do in a whole nother professional sport, like it's just another opportunity. Like I said before, and, you know, I live my life one opportunity at a time. I have to, as the underdog. So, you know, my ultimate goal now is, you know, hopefully I can play football down the road, but I also want to try and make the U.S. national team and play in a World Cup and represent my country. Like that's so much bigger than myself. Like I'd like to be a part of something, you know, bigger than me. So that's like,
yeah, for sure, man. And it's crazy, you know, I bet those hits got to hit a little bit harder now that you're not wearing pads.
You know what it is though? Like you definitely feel it. Obviously you definitely feel it. It's man on man. Definitely no time to be soft. But at the same time, it's like a respect thing because you don't have pads on, right? Like, so I'm not having a guy come fly out and take my knee out, you know, from the side and I don't see him, you know, like a blind side, or, you know, I don't do flying in, trying to take out my ankle swipers. So like the game's more, it's physical, yes. But at the same time, like, because you have a mutual respect, like you're physical, but you're just, there's a way to tackle, you know, there's
more
technique.
Strategic.
Yeah, and it's more head up. Like you know you're going to get hit, right? You both know you're going to get hit. So when you guys hit each other, it's just like I said, it's a mutual respect kind of thing. So it's just, it might hurt, but you're not getting your knees blown up. You're not getting your ankles taken out. Like it's a nice clean hit. That's what this game's about. So it's interesting, man. It's just, and like I said, like you get to be a complete athlete. I think that's the coolest part. Like you play offense, you play defense, you make tackles. You know, you run the ball, like it don't matter if you're big or small, you know, so it's an ultimate team sport. So like I can also take what I learned from here and, you know, and apply it back to, you know, football or just everyday life, you know what I'm saying? Like life lessons. So.
Yeah, for sure. So I know we've all seen those like YouTube videos growing up where it's like, which one's harder, football or rugby? So which one hits harder, football or rugby?
I'm going to be honest. I think football still overall, because you got guys flying like torpedoes, right? Like you have pads on, like you're getting blown up at pretty much every play. And rugby is just a consistent hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just going to feel it every play, but you're not getting your knees blown up, like I said. So I'd say football probably like hurt wise it hurts more, but rugby is definitely like, it's tough on your body, man. Like it's physically demanding.
Bottom line, they both hurt.
Yeah, they both hurt, man.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to kind of switch it up, ask you a little bit of a fun question real quick. This one's going to be a tough one though. It always is a tough one. Who's the best athlete you've ever played with? And then who's the best you've ever played against? We can take it back to little gritters, man, high school, anywhere, college, doesn't matter, professional level.
Probably the best athlete I've ever played with, hands down, Jalen Adams. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He played basketball. So when I was at Cushing, I played basketball as well. Won a New England championship. But like there were a bunch of dogs on that team. Caleb Joseph went to Syracuse, our point guard. Jalen Adams, though, this kid, like,
he go to UConn.
Yeah, he went to UConn.
I know him from the
all buzzer beaters. He did
Erie.
that in high school.
I know him from the Erie Bayhawks. Actually, I work for them. So
really?
we are actually pretty close friends.
Yeah. So me and Jalen like went to school together and played ball together. He actually came out. I talked him into coming playing football with me at Cushing. Like he came out for the football team one year, his junior year, and it was awesome. I had him on the right and this kid named Idris Taki on the left, both studs from the basketball team. But Jalen, like when this kid moved, like he floats. He's just so naturally smooth and athletic and like understand how to use your body. Like you can't coach stuff like that. It's just naturally, it's just God given. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely Jalen's probably the best athlete I've ever played with. But against man, that's a tough one, honestly, because it depends on like you think about it, like what sport, like. Yeah. Against, we might have to come back to that, at the end of the show. Let's come back to that at the end of the show.
Sounds good. So let's take it on a little bit of a more serious note. Kind of, what's some of like the biggest adversity you've had to face, whether it's your football career, whether it's in your life, it doesn't matter. How'd you get through it? Just kind of break it down for us.
So actually, this is a pretty good story. It's definitely tough. It was tough for me to share, like, as it happened and, stuff a couple of years ago. But so my freshman and sophomore year, like getting in college and having that freedom, it kind of overtook me a little bit, getting to go out and hang out with the boys, and you kind of get wrapped up in the college lifestyle a little bit. Almost like, you're on the football team. I've never felt something like that before. And, just making some poor decisions and, ultimately by my sophomore year, I had failed out of school. I lost my scholarship. I lost everything, my coach's respect, my teammates' respect. But my guy, Jeff Gallo, my coach, Jeff Gallo, and my head coach, Kevin Callahan, thankful for them forever, still believed in me because they knew that I was capable of so much more. And I just had to see it within myself. You know what I mean? It was like a growing point. And just to see the mistakes I made, the decisions I made, and just to better myself, to learn from these mistakes and start to grow as a man. And I'll never forget. So it was right before Christmas break, and I went home and I get a letter, you've been dismissed from the university, lost scholarship, lost blah, 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 blah. I get a phone call from my coach, Jeff Gallo, and we're talking, and he's on the phone. And he said, you have two choices right now. You can either be the champ or you can be a chump. What do you want to be? So what do you want to be in life? What do you want to define you? Like, what do you want to be defined as? And like, when you think about, just everything that rides on these decisions, you know what I mean? It's like the first real hard, like, life decision I've ever had. And like reality check, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not bigger than anybody else in this whole world. Like, I'm not better than you. I'm not better than whoever, Joe Schmo down the road. It doesn't matter. We're all equal, and just to never be too high on yourself, and in that moment when he talked to me, and, I was like, you're absolutely right. Like, I can either be a champ or I can be a chump. And I chose to try and be a champ. And he gave me an opportunity. When I got back to school, he kind of took me under his wing for the last couple of years and just helped me understand, what it means to be a man. Like, we're going to make bad choices throughout life. Like, not everyone makes the best choices, but it's learning from those choices, right? Those decisions you make, and like just constantly growing, like 1% better every day is what we say. 1% better. If you can get 1% better every day, you're doing something right. And so, he took him and Coach Callahan, Jeff Gallo and Coach Kevin Callahan, believed in me enough to get me back into the university. I had to write my statements, and I wholeheartedly. And from the time I got re-enrolled and got my scholarship back, I think from that day, it was like, you know what, like, if you really want to be something, if you really, say you want to do all this stuff, like, here's your shot. Like, this is your last chance to really make something of yourself and prove to everybody that, you know, you can do whatever you want in life. And that's kind of like, you know, I don't mean to, you know, keep dragging this on, but, you know, it kind of changed into like a dream for me, right? Like, after that whole incident, I came up with this hashtag called Dream Big. And it's, you know, simple. People probably use it all the time before me or whatever, but I started using it. And it was like, just to remind myself that my dream is so much bigger than me, right? I represent a whole community back home. Like, kids look up to me, you know, people ask me for help or advice, or, you understand? So like, understanding how big your character can be to somebody, and like just how much being there and being a role model can mean to other people. And like, so I started that Dream Big thing, and just like, I started living by it every day. Like, and, you know, and having coach there every day, Jeff Gallo, to push me through college. That's really why I succeeded, you know, because I had those dudes around me that when I needed to be kicked in the ass and like, hey, you can do so much better. Like, I had it, you know, I'm thankful for that. And so it kind of created that dream for me. I wanted to be able to inspire, and like, I want to be able to help kids, you know, down in the future. And like, just to be an example of like, no matter what you do in life, like, do everything wholeheartedly and like, never give up on yourself ever.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. And it's definitely good, because this podcast is definitely going to help a lot of people, my man. So just you sharing that story, I greatly appreciate it. And a lot of people will appreciate it as well.
Absolutely, man.
So take that time to take us into our last question. Any advice to the young athletes out there trying to chase their pro football dreams?
Yeah. You know, I'd say, just for, you know, all the kids that are going to listen to this, or anyone out there in general, as I just said, do not ever stop believing in yourself. Like, no matter how down you get, or like how down you get on yourself, just always know that you are capable of so much more in life. Like, I've been at the lowest of lows. You know, I've hit literally rock bottom and had to have help, like, had to have people help me, like, to bring me back up. And like, don't be afraid to, you know, be a man. Like, being a man is, you know, understanding your mistakes and your downfalls, and growing up. So just always work your hardest. Never give up on yourself, and dream big.
Exactly. Shawn Clark, ladies and gentlemen, played in the spring league this past year. He also playing some rugby right now. We'll be tuned in over here. Keep grinding, bro. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me so much, man. Appreciate you.
No problem.